Hey, it's Anissa on the other side of the camera today for A Self-Reliant Life. And today we are going to be doing something that I've actually been putting off for a while because I really wasn't sure of myself on this. If you remember, last year or so when I did the concrete staining, I did the same thing to myself. I watched a ton of YouTube videos, freaked myself out, and didn't do the project for quite a while, put it off because I was nervous. Well, I've done the same thing with this, and this is our bathroom vanity. And you know, I went to go price vanities and find what I really wanted, and I was having a really hard time finding, one, what I wanted, two, I was appalled at the prices. It was nothing for a vanity to be $700, $800, even upwards of $1,200 to $1,500 for a vanity this size. Now this is a 36-inch vanity, which here is a picture of what the vanity looked like before I started. Now what you're seeing is I've already started some of the prep, and I'm going to talk to you about that. But what I'm going to do with this is I got this older vanity that is that old-fashioned oak look, which of course I don't want in our new tiny beach house. So what I decided to do was do a transformation and change the color on it so that I could repurpose and reuse and save myself a ton of money. I got this vanity with a countertop sink one-piece unit, which is perfect for the bathroom, and a really nice faucet. The faucet alone was a $65 Delta faucet, and it was of course silver, which is what I'm doing, the theme in the bathroom is all of the fixtures are silver, and that faucet alone was $65. I got the countertop sink, faucet, and this entire vanity with the risers and everything we need to hook it into our plumbing for $50. Yeah, $50 on Facebook. I was so stoked. So remember that I said that, by the way, when we get to the end of this video and I've actually finished the transformation, and we'll see if I still say that I'm so stoked, because I'm a little nervous. But I want to show you what I'm doing. It's a Rustoleum Furniture Transformations is the product that I'm using. Now there's several products out there, but I did a lot of reading on the reviews, and this seemed to be the one that everybody raved about, how easy it was to use, and just the quality of the color as it would come out, okay? So I went and bought this. This cost me $35 at the big box store, but I'm actually gonna put some links, because you can buy these on Amazon for actually less than what they are now at the big box store, because they've actually gone up in price. So I'll put some links below for you. And then I had to buy a few supplies of my own, which I'll show you in a moment. And this process takes roughly 2 days because of dry time. You got like 2 or 3 hours, you know, of drying in between. But I'm excited to try this. I hope it works. If it doesn't, I don't know, I'll probably put the vanity back on Facebook, get all my money back out of it, and go figure something else out. But I'm gonna put it out there that it's gonna work and be fine. And I'm gonna be able to get a really nice vanity in my tiny beach house bathroom without spending $1,000. So I want to tell you a little bit about the process. I'm going to walk you guys through this. I'm going to show you step by step how I'm doing what I'm doing and explain it. The one thing that I had a hard time finding was a lot of really good tutorial videos, kind of like when I did the acid staining, which is why we did those videos, and we have had thousands of people love those videos and be so happy that we did them so that they have some better detailed instructions. So I am going to do that as well. Rustoleum does have some pretty good videos out there, but I'm going to do this for you guys on the vanity in, you know, our style, our layman terms. Here's how you really do it. I mean, this is what the instructions might say, but this is how I found that it worked out well. So anyway, this is what we're starting with. So what I decided was, when you get these transformation kits, you get a dark base or a light base. You have to buy one or the other. I chose a dark base because of the kind of color that I wanted. And then you have all these colors that you get to choose from, and inside the kit you have this tint base that you have to have tinted at the store. If you buy this through our Amazon link, you can take it in and have it done. It's really easy to do. But anyway, I had a really hard time deciding on the color. So what I chose was actually, it's kind of a grayish color, and we're gonna shoot for gray cabinetry in the bathroom. It'll go beautiful with the tile, I feel, and give us kind of a beachy look. And our bathroom is small. It's 10 by 10 because it's also our utility room, and there's no windows. The only window in that room is in the door, which is actually right behind me here. You might be able to see. So there's not a lot of light. It's a small space, and we've already got, you know, it's dark in there as it is, and so I didn't want to do dark cabinetry like we did in the kitchen because I didn't want to make the space any darker than it is. So right now, I'm going to show you what's in the box for the Rustoleum kit, and then I'm going to show you the other supplies that I've got and let you know where I'm at this point, okay? So inside the box, it literally comes with just about everything you need. The few items that I had to get on my own were simple little things. You know, it comes with the cleaner, it comes with the bond coat, which is actually what's going to give me the color. This is what I had to have tinted at Home Depot. It comes with wiping cloths, comes with the stir sticks to stir my little cans with, and then I've got the decorative glaze, which I'm not sure if I'm going to do. We're going to see how I like the color. Once you put the color on, you can do this decorative glaze step, and it kind of alters the color. And I'm not sure if I'm going to want that. So I'm going to see what it looks like in just the gray, and if I like that, I'm not going to do this step. It is an optional one. If I want to change it up, then I will. There's also a green scrubby, which I'm going to use to clean it and do the deglossing to kind of knock some of the, you know, shininess off of the cabinet so that things stick better. And then this is the protective top coat. So after all of this is done, and I do my, you know, coating my color and whether or not I choose to do the glaze, I'm going to do the protective top coat. In between every application, it's like a 2 or 3 hour drying process. And the only application that you have to do twice is on the bond coat, which is what gives you your color, okay? So that's pretty much what's in the kit. Now, the other items that I bought was it says to have a lint-free cloth. So I bought a couple of tack cloths because after I do this cleaning and scrub everything up good, I'm going to do a tack cloth to make sure I've got no fine little particles or anything on the vanity. And then I'm going to do what they call the deglazing, okay? And then after the deglazing step, I'm going to do this tack cloth again, and I'll show you that, don't worry. But I do want to show you that I've got some other items that I bought. So this is just a cheap throwaway paintbrush, okay? 2-incher, so I can put all my stuff on, but I'm gonna toss it, okay? The other thing it says to buy is a disposable paint cup. Now, I happen to have a couple of plastic containers that I can just use and throw away when I'm done. But you are gonna wanna pour your items into a different container to use them. It just makes it easier, I guess, on the processing. I also have some foam brushes, which I actually just already had these, but I've got them handy in case I need them for touch-up spots, all right? The other thing is when I'm doing my cleaning, I'm gonna use a microfiber cloth. You want something that's not gonna leave lint. Like I would not ever do this cleaning on this with like a cotton cloth because you want something like microfiber that is not gonna leave any kind of lint or residue on the surface. The other thing that I did was I want to show you the cabinet door. I have 2 drawers in my vanity, and I have 2 cabinet doors. So of course, had the old-fashioned gold, which was the knobs and hinges. So I went and bought new. I took off what was on there, and I bought 2 new. I have 2 doors, right? So I needed 2 handles, 1 for each of my doors, in my silver to match my bathroom. And I did my silver knobs for my drawers. And then I actually, you could have spray painted. There was some kits out there where you can like spray paint hinges and do that. I just decided these were so simple and inexpensive on these hinges that I just went ahead and bought the silver hinges. And I'm gonna donate the other gold stuff to a secondhand store, so hopefully somebody will be able to use those. But I decided to go ahead and just buy new. Now, one of the things that I love about this project is that I'm repurposing this vanity. I mean, this vanity could have wound up in a secondhand store or a dump, for Pete's sake, and it's still a good solid vanity. It's perfect size for what we need. So I was really happy that I could do this and refurbish it. So the instructions are very simple, but definitely read the instructions all the way through before you start, okay? Oh, the other thing that I got, which I'll show you here what I have, is a drop cloth. So this is a canvas drop cloth, and I'm going to use this to lay all of my cabinet doors and drawer fronts on when I'm doing the staining, okay? So it's nice and clean, and it's not gonna get on, the product isn't gonna get on any of my surfaces below. So now the first thing that we need to do is to clean the cabinet. And like I said before, read the instructions all the way through. I didn't really help me to set my area up to help me with this. Now, of course, knowing I have a tiny house, I'm out on the patio doing this, but we have great weather, and so I'm just making this work. They say you should do this inside the house, in a garage or in a basement, which I have neither of. So I'm making this work, okay? So the vanity, I took it apart. I took off this fake front, I took off the doors, I took off the drawers, and I took them out, and then I took their fronts off and took all of the hardware off of my drawer fronts and my door fronts, okay? And then I've scrubbed these up so they're nice and clean, removed everything from these sides. These are not removable, they're actually in the wood, so I'm not real worried about them because they're gonna be hidden when I put the drawer back together, okay? So these are what I'm gonna put on my cabinet. Now the vanity, I'm actually gonna put it on a sheet of plywood because I don't think I have enough room on the tarp to put it on, and you wanna be sure that whatever surface is underneath this when you're doing it is protected, because it will damage anything it gets on. The stain stuff that comes, your coatings, it's gonna damage anything that it drips on. So you're gonna wanna make sure that you're really covered with that. So I'm gonna choose to leave these in. I hope I won't regret that. I may wind up taking them out later, just because I don't wanna take it apart any more than I already have. So I'm gonna go ahead and scrub this up. Again, I'm gonna use my microfiber cloth and just really clean this up really, really good before I start my deglossing process. The other thing that I had to do was there was like old caulk and different things that were on the areas here, because this has already been, again, it's a repurposed sink, or vanity, so it was installed in a bathroom. So there's caulk like back here and stuff. So I'm gonna scrape that off with a putty knife and just really work on all of these surfaces to make sure everything is completely clean. Once it's completely cleaned with my lint-free microfiber cloth, then I gotta let it dry and make sure it's good and dry. Probably about 45 minutes in this weather, maybe 30 minutes. Once everything's good and dry, then I'm gonna start my deglossing process, and I'll go over that with you when I get there. Okay, so now I did one of the cabinet drawer fronts, the door fronts, because I wanted to show you. I started working on the deglosser. So at this point, I've completely scrubbed and cleaned all of the cabinet drawers and door fronts and the cabinet itself, the vanity. And then I made sure that all imperfections, little sticky glue things, whatever, was all off of it, everything, by using a scraper. And like where the little sticky pads, that are on doors that like quiets them as they shut, I took those off. I'm gonna put new ones on. And so I scraped all of that glue off and just made sure that everything was removed that was sticky or icky before I do the deglossing. And then I wiped everything down, made sure everything was scrubbed really good with soap and water. So now I'm doing this on the ground because I don't have a countertop to set it on, which would be really nice. So if you have, sawhorses or a countertop to set this on, I can tell you it would definitely make it easier for you. But for me, I don't have that, so this is what I'm doing. Now I've laid down my drop cloth, okay? So that I have a nice clean surface for all of my cabinet parts to be on, and I'm not gonna get any kind of bonding agent or deglosser on my patio, which is where I'm doing this, all right? So I also have my gloves on. You wanna use gloves for this step for sure, according to the instructions. So what I wanna show you before I show you how to do the deglossing is this cabinet door. Can you get this good on the camera? So this cabinet door, I already did this process on. I put the deglosser on here, which I'm going to show you with this green scrubby. And then I thought, wow, that really doesn't look like it did much, right? It's supposed to take the shine off of things and the finish down so that our bonding agent adheres, which is going to give us our new color. Well, then I took one of the door that I haven't done. Look at the difference. Can you see that on the camera? Mm-hmm. This one here I haven't touched. Look at how different it looks than this one that I've already done the deglosser on. Pretty crazy, right? So we're gonna do the deglossing, which according to the instructions and the videos that I watch, this is the single most important step you have got to get down right, because this is what's going to really set your wood up, your cabinet up to take the coloring really well. Okay, so in my kit came a green scrubby. All right, and so it says to fold it in half, and then to apply the deglosser, which is our step number 1, liberally. So I'm using a bucket here, by the way, because I'm outside in case anything excess drips. So I put a really nice amount of the deglosser on this green scrubby. And then I'm going to take my door front that I'm working on, and I'm actually doing this kind of over the bucket again because I find this gets really foamy. All right. It says to go scrub side to side really well with this deglosser, and you want to get it all over your surface areas. Don't skip any areas. Don't do circular motions, it says. Not good, that's bad. So we're doing long with the grain type motion. All right, and again, this is the most critical step. I'm spending about a solid minute and a half on each cabinet door or front. So area scrubbing, doing everything on each side, up and down, and all the nooks and crannies. And again, I don't know if this is enough. It's what they're telling me, that this is important. And they don't say, okay, it takes this long. So I'm spending about, I'd say a good minute and a half on each item. So now that I've got the front done, and you see it kind of foams up a little bit. Now I'm going to turn it over, and I did all the edges, and I'm going to do the back side too. Now the back side is way less shiny than the front, so I'm spending a little bit less time on this side than I did the front, because the front's really where all of that finish and glossiness is. See, I'm probably spending about 30 seconds on this side, I guess is what I would say. And I'm just kind of using this bucket to stage me. If you have a nice countertop, again, be a lot easier and you won't need the bucket situation going on. But I'm not doing it on my clean, dry canvas because I don't know if I want all of this defoamer or deglosser stuff on that area. I don't know if it'll affect when I'm trying to do all my other coats of stuff. My bonding coat and whatnot. All right, so I might be doing overkill here. I don't know, maybe I'm not doing enough. But again, the directions aren't real clear. So, all right, so I got that done. Now it says to immediately take a damp cloth, and again, I'm using microfiber, and wipe all of this bonding agent off. If you had a sink handy at this point, I would say would be a really good thing. But I'm going to wipe this off really good. All right, that looks like that all came off good. Okay, so now that I got all wiped off, I'm going to do another microfiber cloth as my drying cloth. And I'm going to wipe the surface down because that other damp cloth was pretty wet, to try to dry this out some. All right, so I guess it's also super important with this step that you make sure you get all of the deglosser off of the cabinets and the doors and the cabinet itself before you try to apply that first coat of color. All right, so I got that wiped down pretty clean. Gonna let that set up. So as you can see, now look at this. Look at the difference. Look at my doors look the same, right? See, here's my door front. Look at how shiny that is in comparison. Look at the difference. Okay, so now I'm going to do the rest of the two drawer fronts and my fake front, and then the actual vanity cabinet itself. So once we have the deglosser done on all of the components, we have to let them dry for 1 hour, and then 1 hour later we can start adding the bonding agent, the first coat of that. So I'll see you on that next step. Okay, so I'm done with all of the deglossing on everything, and I actually want to say, earlier in the video I said I did about 1.5 minutes on each piece. I actually went back and did a little bit more because it just didn't quite look deglossed enough. And so I actually wound up doing, I'm gonna say probably 2.5 minutes on each piece, so that I got them really good, and I didn't want a ton of shiny spots on it. It didn't seem like that was gonna be a good plan. So I did do that off camera. So the other thing I did was I got a couple sawhorses and a sheet of plywood, had my husband help me lift this table up because before I was doing it on the ground, and that was definitely not doing my back any favors. And with this painting, I really wanted to be comfortable. So now we're ready for step 2. After I let everything dry really, really good, I'm going on to step 2, which is bond coat. I'm sorry, called the bond coat, which is where I'm putting my color on. So you can see that I've already started, and what I did was, a lot of people talk about using like cups and screws with 2x4s and whatnot. I just used scrap wood. I didn't get all crazy with screws and things like that. I just went ahead and used these little pieces of scrap wood that my husband had to get everything up off of the table, so that I wasn't painting the sides and, you know, getting it on the table area and having drips. Now they tell you to start on the back of your cabinet drawers or door fronts first to practice. That was a very good idea because it definitely took a little bit of practice, and doing everything again at long strokes with the grain of the wood. I can totally see why that's important. So I went ahead and did all of my backs of my drawers and door fronts. So I did that. I've got one single coat here. It's going to take 2 coats at least. They say only 2 coats. Some people I know do up to 3 coats. So I'm going to do my second coat and see what I think about the color. That is all done on the drawer and door fronts. So now I'm going to start on the vanity. So I am, for this first application, using a disposable brush because my other really good brush that I have is being used on another project. But I think I'm going to go ahead and wash that up and use it on this project, because for my top finish I want to make sure that I'm getting a really, really good brush finish. So I'm going to start on the side of my vanity here. I just feel like that's going to be easier than doing the front first, and I'm going to go up and down with nice long strokes. And they really talk about how a lot of warnings I see on some of the tutorials that I've seen online, how you don't get too much on there because you don't want dripping. Well, I haven't really had any issues with that, but I've been checking it really closely and being kind of cautious of that, nervous about getting too much and those drips. So that hasn't been a big problem for me, but I have been really hyper aware of it and sensitive to it because of all those warnings. The other thing that I caught on this really great video that I saw earlier was that when you get down to doing the top coat, the nice finishing top coat, that you want to be really sure and not get it too thick, because you will get these like white gummy areas. So I'm going to be real careful there when I get to that step. But I got several steps to go before I get there, because we're going to have at least 2 coats of the bond coat that I'm doing right now, which is giving me my color. And then I may or may not do the deglazing. I don't know. I'm going to see what I think about that. I might do it on the back of one of my door fronts and see what I think about it. I'm not sure if I want to do that or not. So I'm just very carefully covering all the areas, and I'm not pushing really hard, but I'm doing like really long strokes so I don't have any, you know, inconsistencies going on my cabinet after I get the final in. Now, I didn't have a lot of imperfections or issues with my cabinets. They were in pretty, even though they were really old, they were in pretty good shape. I can definitely tell with just doing this little bit of application that I have done. I had a couple icky spots, I don't know if you can see this on the camera, on the back of the drawer fronts, and I went ahead and pulled it off with my fingernails because it was all this icky lumpy thing, and I had another one over here. So I can definitely see that you want to be sure you don't have anything gummy stuck to any of your cabinets. I'm not well worried about that door front because it's, you know, it's inside of a drawer, but still, that could have been bad if it was on like the front part of something, like on the very front of my vanity. So be really sure that your vanity or cabinet, whatever it is that you're doing this on, is really clean. You got all the, you know, stickers off or any gooeys from stickers removed and things like that. So I'm just, you know, sometimes guys, you probably know if you've watched any of my other tutorial videos, I get kind of particular about things. So I'm just being real sure to just do a final swipe up and make sure I got all my grain going really good. Now you can go back over this on this coat, but they do talk about on the top coat, you do not go back over where you've already brushed. So they're real adamant. They say that a few times too on the Rustoleum tutorial videos. So I'm going to be careful about that. But on this, I'm just going back over to make sure that I've got my brush strokes nice and long. All right, so see, I've got a little hair off of my brush here. And that's why you want to use a good quality brush. I am definitely going to change to my better brush on my next coat. I'm just finishing this up. It hasn't been too bad, but that was definitely not a good call on my part. So I would absolutely tell you to not use a disposable brush. I have a really, really good one that I think I paid like, gosh, I think I paid like 20 bucks for it. Like, I don't even know how many years ago, maybe 15. And I've been using it for 15 years. So it's worth the investment. So I've got a nice coat on here. So now I'm gonna go ahead and start, and I'm checking here in the back side. This is the kind of one of those areas that I'm nervous about a drip. Just make sure that I'm looking good there. I'm gonna now start over here on the front of the cabinet. So you notice I went with the grain, right? So here I'm gonna do the same thing. So on these sides, I'm gonna go up and down with the grain, and here I'm gonna go side to side. So it doesn't really matter where you start. I'm just gonna kind of start in the middle here. I don't know if you can see that well, Kevin, on the camera, but I'm just coming across here and just kind of making sure that I got my inside covered. Now this is a false front that's gonna go on here, so I'm not worried about these ledges, but when I get down to the drawers and doors, I am gonna paint these inside ledges so that they're the same color as my door. I'm gonna leave the inside what it is, but I'm gonna paint those edges down there. I'm just not worried about that false front. So one of the things that they say you gotta think about is dripping, pushing out on this side. So I'm kind of keeping my brush over here. It's a 2-inch brush, and it's a little wider than this piece of wood. So I'm kind of keeping it over this area a little bit so that I'm not pushing a lot of paint over here. If I'm gonna push extra paint, it's gonna be on the inside here, which nobody's gonna see. And I'm just gonna kind of run my brush up there to make sure I don't have any wonkies, okay? And then I'm gonna do the same here, just a little bit, make sure that I don't have any big, you know, lumps of paint there. All right, or I should say bond coat. It's like painting, but by the way, be really, really careful with this stuff. It is super liquidy, way more thin, way more thin. I don't even know if that's a word. Anyway, it's thinner than paint, like a lot. So just be really aware of that, and don't wear things that are super important to you, I guess, and be real careful about tipping it over. And they say to do this in a really well ventilated area. They're not joking. This really, really smells. I'm doing this outside, as you can probably hear by the neighbor's dog barking and the traffic, but I'm not doing it in like pristine conditions. As you can see, it's cloudy here where I am today, and it's a little bit breezy. They also tell you don't do it with any fan on. So I'm kind of pushing it a little bit there, but it seems to be doing just fine for me. Now on the insides here, obviously, I'm gonna get those. I'm just kind of knocking off the little chunks of paint so it doesn't gum up. But we're gonna get this done. It's probably gonna take a couple of hours, they say, to dry, although I feel like it's drying a lot quicker than that. And then we're gonna be able to do our second coat.